नमः शिवाय गुरवे सच्चिदानन्दमूर्तये निष्प्रपञ्चाय शान्ताय निरालम्बाय तेजसे ॐ गङ्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ गङ्गणपतये नमः। ॐ ऐं सरस्वतये नमः। ॐ क्लीं कलिकाय नमः। ॐ क्लीं भद्रकाली नमः। ॐ दुर्गाय नमः। हरिः ॐ। And special prayers for today. Before start, Mahamrityunjaya mantra for the all peace. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivaradhanam Urvarukam Yavandhanam Mritarmasyamamritan. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gam Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So today we'll start the second chapter, sutra number 3, the sadhana pada. So sadhana pada is need a lot of discipline. When you study just theoretical, maybe you don't need to have so much discipline, but still, if you are a discipline when listening to the lectures, why not the online or any kind of virtual meetings or with the class? You must always think you study with the master in the class. So therefore, you have to sit down properly in online class, and you have to dress also properly. Need to dress properly. Online class is not something sitting on the sofa and drinking a bottle of alcohol to listen or smoking one cigarettes. It's not like that. You always keep a glass of water side by if you need to drink. So online class also, you need to dress properly. You need to choose the place where you can sit down and listen to also lectures. That is the online class. Online class, not you sitting on your sofa or eating some sandwich and eating some fruits and listening from masters. That is what I don't like it. So I just remind you, if you want to continue your online class, you must be also disciplined. Dress moderately, sit down properly, actively, not lying on the bed and sitting down there and listening. So that is not the way. Your consciousness is not going to active, not very much aware. For example, you listening to the lectures of Dalai Lama, you can't sleeping on your bed and listening to the lectures. That is not the way for the meetings. So therefore, you must be clear. Online class also, it is you need to develop the awareness, the conscious for yourself. That means you are active and you understood, and I am learning something. So when you're sitting also online class, either you're sitting on the chair or the table, but keep your spinal cord straight always and always active. That is very important. Online class not like a fun. It is not fun. And you must be clear, online class are not free. And you paying for that also. Not free. and money not come from heaven. You work hard. Therefore, online class I don't give free at all. To know, I don't waste my time to sit down here for 1 hour and blah blah with you. So therefore, you have to be very clear that. So when you study, wherever you study, you have to be very disciplined. So that I like to remind you. Okay, so you have to find the proper place where you can also study. Like when you study also, for example, in the class, in the ashrams or studio, you have also discipline. That's called Jnana Yoga. When you study, online class is a Jnana Yoga. Yeah, and that also need to develop your, and that this reason you have to be very, your consciousness to be active, your consciousness not careless, not tamasic, right? So therefore you have to active your physical and mental and psychological. So that to be note. Understand, especially when you study with me. When you study with others, how to teach to others, that is not my business. I always concern my business, always. So therefore, and you always listen properly so that the suitable way, suitably, you need to have suitably yourself, physically comfortable and relaxed and listening. Right? So this is the online classes. Because online classes, when you are spinal cord properly, if you are careless, your mind ignore. So then you are wasting again your time for sitting 1 hour and listening blah blah, and this year goes, this year getting out. So therefore, I don't invite the people who is careless and free classes. I don't invite the people. In my class, they cannot even listen to lectures. If somebody is sleeping, you know, you check sometimes when somebody is speaking, somebody sleep in the yoga hall, you know, they're listening like this, they're hanging out. I don't allow the people in my class. I always say that the people sit down, keep the spinal cord straight, not hanging on the wall. I don't allow my students in my class around the world. So I say that you can play with your other teachers, not with me. Because that is how my guru taught me. Prana not flowing upwards, the apana active. So your mind ignoring what you're listening. Like will be the digital disciplines. Huh? You check it. You think there is some connection problems?
Yes, last about 30 seconds, we cannot hear you so good.
Christina, you can listen properly. Chris, you can hear?
No, we had some problems, but now it sounds a little better.
Okay.
Last 2-3 minutes were bad, but now it's a bit better.
Okay, I think Julie also, maybe she could not connect. Okay. So I speak because of discipline. You understand? Because today the chapter about discipline for sadhana. So that is the word sutra number 1 say that discipline for this sadhana. So therefore I also speak these things about to discipline, to listen in the lectures, listen in the masters. It is a jnana yoga active. And when we go to our traditional monastery, we are sitting very calm, very quiet, and like obedient. So therefore, and many people today, like today, the world is developed like this. So everybody has to not connect with the physical to anyone, but everybody connect to the digital. So that is how the world is today. So we are far from the reality. Far from the reality. Digital does not give the food to eat. You can listen from the lectures, but you need to have practical. So like this, so you have to be very, you have to develop the awareness How to maintain all kind of discipline. That is important. So today the sutra number 3. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesa, Abhinivesa, Klesha. That what I tried to explain yesterday, but today I want to summarize. Avidya, the ignorance. Avidya is the, because avidya leads to the indiscipline, or indiscipline leads to the avidya. If no discipline is, if you ignore many things, if you not discipline many things, it all the way leads to the avidya. And avidya leads to all the way you are suffering. And like anything you ignore and anything you don't care, we sometimes, I also sometimes use sometimes the word I don't care. That is actually not very good word. When I use this word, it means I'm not a yogi. So I try to always, I put my words in the right perspectives. Yogis should care. Yogis should take awareness, to respect. So it's I don't care. It means you don't care yourself. I do. Sometimes I say I don't care. It is actually, this word is related to the avidya. When I say I don't care, it leads to the avidya. It leads to suffering. That's the unconscious mind. But I do use this word when I'm very much angry. So it means that the weak points, being a yogi, being a swami, being a monk, being a seeker of yoga. I just use, because that is my practical experience. Anything I say I don't care means I don't care of myself. I don't care my mind. I don't care my consciousness. I don't care my awareness. This, when I say I don't care, this terminology, it leads to all the way to suffering. Even you have many things in your life, it means you don't care at all. So therefore today you're suffering. I just try to share my own experience with you, being a yogi. So you always remember, don't use the word I don't care. So there are Patanjali Yoga Sutras that don't like it. Carelessness persons don't like it. You must take care. In case you don't take care, but you must aware, the conscious, what it is, why I cannot take care. It's not necessarily you have to take care of everything, but one thing in yogic life, you must be conscious. You must develop awareness. You must observe. For example, the COVID-19 now around the world. You say, I don't care because I'm a yogi. I'm healthy. Okay, you are healthy is fine. But you must also, if you cannot help the whole world, at least you must aware, at least you must be conscious, at least must respect. Most of the time, we can't take care. That is okay, no problem that. But be an observer. Be a conscious. Develop the awareness and respect. So that this, the consciousness of respect, the consciousness of awareness, the consciousness of the, and it's called awakening of the mind. And once you're awakening this mind, then actually you can awakening whatever happening in your life. You can awaken. That means you are going to be conscious. Whatever happening in your life, it means you can be free from the all kind of difficulties and the problems. Am I clear this point? That's called avidya. When I say don't care, carelessness, therefore most of the time, when people work with me, I always want the people has to be careful, not careless. They maybe not do anything for me, but at least they must be conscious. They must be respect. They must be aware. That is very important things to understand it. If you ignore anything, and if you careless anything, it means you are ignoring the totality of the mind because it relates to the avidya. Avidya means ignorance, which leads you all the way to kleshas, the sufferings. And you can check that in your life. Check yourself. When you drink alcohol, for example, or smoke cigarettes, smoking marijuana, or taking drugs, you ignore everything. You don't care at all. You don't care at all what is happening. And you check that. At the end of the day, it leads to the sufferings in your life. Anything you don't take care, anything you maybe drink a bottle of alcohol, it's no problem that. You can smoke, but you must aware you are smoking. You must aware you are drinking. That is the part of disciplines. It's very important. And that once you're aware, that is known as vidya, the knowledge, the wisdom. And this knowledge is helping you the time of your sufferings. And that time you don't need to cry. For example, you smoke. You must be aware. You must be conscious. This leads to me suffering one day. May I face cancer. May I face liver problems. May I face heart attack. May I face less energy. May I face no prana. May I face kidney problems when you smoke. Because when you smoke, and you understand, smoking is injurious to health, but at least to be conscious that. Maybe you have many reasons. Maybe due to different tensions or problems or stress, you may smoke. It's fine. I'm not going to say that you don't smoke. What I like to say, you must be conscious and ready for the consequence in the future. For example, in case you are suffering for cancer, lungs cancer because of smoke, but you must accept without cry, without sufferings. You must smile and accept it. This is the wisdom. That's what I try to, because this is the way, that is the yogic life or tantric life. Tantra and yoga is not something to suppress. It's not something to deny it, but you must aware, express, aware, and accept. Sometimes you drinking, for example, 5 bottles of drinking alcohol is fine. When you drink first bottle of drink of alcohol, you must aware and observe how your body reacts, how your mind reacts, how your emotion reacts. So everything, whatever you do, either with your friends, either relatives, either beloveds, either go to party, whatever you do in your life, that action and reaction you have to bring into your consciousness. Action and reaction of the mind, you must bring into your consciousness, into your awareness, and observe that. Not important that action reaction is good for you or good for others, is harmful for you or harmful for others. Maybe we don't have that such a mind to understand it. Many things we do, we don't know. Is it good for me? Is it good for others? Because we don't know. Therefore, we do many things. When you know it is not good for me, then you never going to be done. But you do the things, you think everything is good for you. Or you do many things, you don't know what are the results, what are the consequences, and you ignore because you don't care. So yoga and tantra, even Vedanta, is all about to develop the awareness, action and reactions into your consciousness. What that is called chitta, vritti, nirodha. That is the vrittis. So vritti not to be suppressed. Vritti not need to express. Vritti need to express, not to suppress. That is very important. So action, reaction, that is called avidya. So today, the special topic is avidya. So thou avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa, avinivesa, klesaha. The ignorance, the avidya. Then avidya means ignorance means what? Absence of wisdom, absence of knowledge, absence of jnana, absence of consciousness, absence of awareness. It's called carelessness. So therefore, it's very important. The first step of the discipline is to free from avidya. And this avidya, what is actual avidya? Then go to sutra number 4. So I'm not speaking asmita, raga, dvesa, abhinivesa because I'll explain each. Asmita, ego. What is called raga? What is the dvesa, abhinivesa? You can only listen from the translation, but that is not enough. So you need to have understanding through examples, through the psychology. It is the psychology. Psychology of yoga is very important. Then you can attend the philosophy. Psychology of yoga means how you can understand the action and reaction of the breath is. That is the practical implementations, practical. Because many things you study in yoga, many things. You study asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha, yoga nidra, and you're reading all the books, all kind of yoga, whatever available today physically. Many masters teaching you. But you have to check yourself. Does it help you? Answer is not. In the real time, the real problems you have practically, it does not help you. So why not help? You have to ask yourself. I study all kind of asanas. For example, I went to Himalaya. I study with the master Swami Samarpan or Swami Sivananda or Dalai Lama or Ama so on. They're the great masters. But why? I cannot apply. I can't implement into my life when the personal problems comes. What kind of personal problems you have? Because we live in the society with our father, our blood relations, with our beloveds, with our wife, our husbands, brother, son, sisters, stepchildren, grandmothers, grandfathers, maybe dog, maybe cat, maybe horse, whatever. But your practical lives are totally different than you study yoga in the studio or in the ashrams with the masters. So you see that you study everything, but the wisdom, the knowledge does not help you. The yoga does not help you in your practical lives. But the aim of the yoga, the goal of the yoga is how to implement in your practical life, in your daily life, the moment to moment when you are leading in socially, in samsara. That is what my guru tried to explain. He said that practice of yoga, not asanas, or pranayama, or mudra, bandhas, how many hours you practice asanas, how many hours you practice pranayama, is not important. Or how many days you spend as you are European or living in America or Europe and come to India, Himalayas, you practice with yoga gurus. It's not important that. Important is how we implement the science of yoga or science of tantra, science of kundalini, science of pranayama, the science of yoga nidra, the science of the psychology of yoga in your life. That's called psychology. They implement. How to implement, how to apply. That's why people study the applied science of yoga, in college and universities, but only the theoretical. The practical, how we apply, is the question mark comes today. So therefore, people do, many masters, many gurus, they have the real atmosphere to teach you the karma yoga. Karma yoga is the only yoga where you can implement the science of yoga in your life. And that consciousness you develop with the guru, ashrams, or monasteries, and which is today absent around the whole world, people study yoga. There is no real implementation of yoga. Practically, the yoga does not help them to resolve their issues, either emotional, either finance, either law matters, either the passions, or any kind of sickness they have, or they have problems with their husband, or their wife, or with their children, or with their even pets, or their buildings, or their financial situations. It does not help. But a question mark is, it means we study the yoga, the tantra, the kundalini, and many things. The psychology of yoga and philosophy of yoga, even science of enlightenment, but does not help. If it doesn't help your practical life, you can't resolve your difficulties. So what is the use of study yoga? What is the use of study Tantra? What is the use of study the Kundalini? What is the use of study Patanjali Yoga Sutras? What is the use of study all kind of Bible, Quran, Tripitaka, Buddhism? Or what is the use of to study with His Holiness Dalai Lama? What is the use of study with His Holiness Swami Sivananda? What is the use of to study with the big masters in the Himalayas or in the part of the world? If you cannot, if that science, that wisdom cannot help you in your practical life, you have to ask these questions. I'm asking these questions to you, or you are walking on your spiritual path. I always think about very seriously. Or if you cannot implement in your practical life, if you cannot resolve your own difficulties, so why you waste your time and money and energy? You could live in the society, in the countryside. So this is my questions. I always tell to people, why waste your time and money and energy to study all kind of yoga if that cannot help you in your practical life? Maybe you study yoga for the last 30 years. Maybe you are big masters, teachers. But I know personally, the living masters in India, they apply the science of yoga or science of Tantra or Kundalini or Kriyas or Vedanta in their practical life. And they live with the peaceful, they live with the tranquility and content. Not only that, this master, if our master also still, you need to resolve a lot of issues materially, financially. Many things you need to resolve. Because your body, mind, even your own ashrams or monastery is part of material world, part of samsara. But they do resolve practically. That's what I like to tell you. When you study yoga, you must apply. You must apply how? With the consciously. You need to have the conscious mind in order to apply to resolve all kind of issues. For example, you're listening now online for 1 hour. You go back to your practical life and you find the stress. You're listening 1 hour, but this 1 hour, whatever you're listening, it does not help you to implement in your practical life. Maybe a bankruptcy, you need finance, you need building, you need outdoors to fix your buildings. You maybe make and fix your stones. Maybe you have to pay little bills. Your phone not working, yeah? Your cycle not working, the motor car not working, you drive. You are going to your home, your mother is screaming, your father not give freedom, your sister says something, your boyfriend says something, your wife says something, your husband says something, so on. But where is yogic wisdom? Yoga is all about to free from all kinds of sufferings and miseries and release all kinds of stress and strain. But you study yoga for the last 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, but still, yet until now, you not resolve nothing. Resolve nothing. Same mess you have. You not resolve nothing. Same mess you have. The avidya. It's called avidya. You study yoga not for vidya. Whatever you study yoga for 30 years, you never got the wisdom. Never have no knowledge at all for you. If you cannot get the peaceful life in your life, the peace and prosperity and happiness, three things that are very important in the social life. You need to have the peaceful life, prosperity, the good wealth. I don't mean you have to be like, you have to build the 5-star hotel to have good prosperity. No. Many rich people, they make the 5-star hotels, but at the end of the day, the bankruptcy, they can't run the 5-star hotels. Sometimes they hang themselves. They become bankruptcy. They can't pay to their staffs. Sometimes because they get the loan. and they can't deposit the loan, return the loan, and finally they have bankruptcy, and at the same time they became again in the street. So good prosperity is not about how much money you have. Good prosperity is not about how many hotels you have. Good prosperity does mean how much salary you have. Good prosperity does mean you have the big house, 1,000 rooms. No, it's not about that. Good prosperity is, so whatever you have, it has to help you how to survive, how to maintain your practical life, how to feed yourself, feed your family, and feed your surroundings, what you are responsible. That's called good prosperity. Many countryside people, especially the farmers, they're living in very simple, but they have everything, good prosperity in their life. Even a poor laborers in India, they have small house in the countryside, small money they have, and they buy the few kilo rice, vegetables. Whatever they get the money, the same day they spend, they get to work another day. But they live in peace, live in the happiness. That is the prosperity. Prosperity not about what you have, so many things. Prosperity means how to adjust, how to survive. That is called prosperity. Prosperity doesn't mean you have to 10 pair of the shoes or 30 pairs of the dress. No, that is not important. Maybe have 2 pairs of shoes is enough. If you can clean them, and it can be useful every day. Sometimes we have 30 pairs of shoes, but never we are using them even. They stay like exhibitions in our house. So it is not good prosperity. It's called avidya. Avidya, avidya, avidya. That is very important. So sometimes you need to share to others. I remember when I Krish our ashram, it was a time to try to ashram many things. And I always keep many things. But evening, I kept some cloth when Krish 2 years before in ashram. This year, I used so many cloth my workers. Now they wearing it. I give also last year some cloth. Even Europeans comes, they also collect some cloth when they have the winters. Means you keep the things not for yourself, but always think about others. Now the people coming, and I was keeping so many cloth, they need it badly. And I give them, they're so happy. So, and at the same time, and evening, we sometimes throw a lot of things. Even the mosquito repellent, I remember 3 years before. This year I used them when I used to work in the garden, and very helpful. So what I mean, you keep it something, but which can be helpful for others, not for yourself only. Always keep ordinary cloth. Yeah, I never use them at all, but I always give the people who needs it. So like that, what I mean about avidya, how to, because many problems comes in a life and we never resolve. It's unresolved all the way, even you until end of your life. Sometimes we are 90 years old, 100 years old. Lot of things are unresolved. Then you die without any happiness, without the peace of the mind. Then comes next generation. Again, you come back with unresolved difficulties. Same problems are continuing. So yoga is all about how to implement in your personal action and reaction of the life. If you are not balancing your mind, you don't balance or equanimous of the mind, in a practical aspect of the life, no use to study yoga or kundalini. Even tantra, we say that aware, conscious, aware, conscious. Yoga, we say that same thing. Yoga is that aware, awareness, conscious. Everything is about conscious and awareness and observe. Many things we can't do in our life. We can't, for example, we say that, for example, we think sun has to rise from the west, not on the east. Or sun can rise from the north, not possible. So like this, many things happening in our life, practically, many things in life. You can't avoid it. And you can't change it. You can't change. and you can avoid. And you can ignore even. If you ignore, you have problems. If you avoid, that problems. For example, if I ignore sun is rising